moved to the U.S. when I was a year and a half old. My mom, my dad, my brother, and a fussy young toddler who could probably not be contained, aka me. In the words of a famous rapper that some of you might know, we had nothing but $1 and a dream. Well, in our case, we had precisely $22, 2 suitcases, and a dream. Don't forget the dream. For many of us here in the States, we are not only a minority to the general population, but we are also a minority to the minority population. To some whites, we're too black. To some blacks, we're too African. And if you're like me, born at home, but raised here in the US, you can be too American for the Kenyans and too Kenyan for the Americans. I primarily grew up in a football town in the heart of Friday Night Lights, Texas. A beautiful Dallas suburb that, in the year 2000, was only 4.3% black. That's 1,800 people out of 44,000 that looked similar to me. So even if I had not intended or wanted to pay attention to my blackness, it was going to make sure people paid attention to me. My dad can and will talk to anyone. No, literally, anyone. My mom is a talker too, but isn't so keen to insert herself into extensive conversation in the same manner. They are the righteous king and queen of conversation, and I, their precious offspring, am the princess. We all know that it takes 2 to tango, or in this case, converse. So in elementary school, I always wondered why I was the only one whose parents would be called to the principal's office for being a chatty patty, while my more fair-skinned cohorts didn't receive nearly the level of scrutiny or discipline that I did. After a few instances, it started to make sense. My comparatively dark skin was the exact reason why. I also remember the exact moment that I realized I was Kenyan here in the US. We had a multicultural day at school, and we were to bring in foods, beverages, and/or symbols that were representative of our culture. Me, being the proud Luya girl that I was, there was nothing else I was going to bring in other than ugali na sukuma wiki. For my non-Kenyan friends, we prepare ugali by boiling water in a pot. We then begin to stir in cornmeal until it turns from something like a porridge-like texture to something similar of a soft cornbread. Sukuma wiki, on the other hand, is a vegetable dish made from fried and chopped kale. If you add tomatoes, onions, and cilantro, the end product truly enthuses the taste buds. It's eaten by grabbing a piece of ugali with your bare hands, rolling it into a ball, scooping up a good load of sukuma wiki, and plopping it into the mouth with delight. Talk about a perfect Luya lunch or dinner. Well, breakfast too, because you know we Luyas love our ugali. Fast forward to the day of cultural expression. I stood there proud, chest out, head high, with my Kenyan flag waving behind my plated dishes. To my dismay, the kids walked by with more confusion than curiosity to even try my plates. After all of the work that my dad and I had put together, the kids insisted on trying the tacos and egg rolls before them. And I love tacos and egg rolls, but I felt insecure and a little bit embarrassed that nobody wanted to try a piece of my culture. Mimi siwezi kuongea Kiswahili. And that's the extent of my Swahili. Thank you all for coming to class. You are dismissed. Okay, not really, but here's the truth. In my youth, I was just never able to grasp the lingo of my countrymen and women. Luckily, like most first-gen millennials, my parents did their due diligence to make sure that even though we were far from the continent was not far from us. Between Kenyan church on Sundays, Tuesday for prayers, Thursday for fellowship, bi-weekly kesha on Friday, and of course someone was always chomaying on Saturday, we were never really too far from our roots. I was so clearly immersed in our culture, yet somehow when I would ask people to translate what they said into English, they would, and perhaps unintentionally, invalidate my Kenyan heritage. Huelewi Swahili? Oh, so you are not a real Kenyan? Oh, you've been here for how long? Oh, so you are an American. Blah, blah, blah. Amidst feeling like I was too African for the Americans, I was now too American for my own people. So, when I decided to attend university, I took my talents to the illustrious Howard University in the heart of Washington, D.C. I needed to learn from and be surrounded by the diaspora and Black excellence. I sought an understanding of those who came before me and fought for my rights as a multicultural young woman. I needed to understand the relevance and the impact of the Kwame Ture's, the Felicia Rashads, the Kamala Harris's, and the Amiri Barakas of the world. After graduation, I decided to take my talents to California. There's something special about being in a place far from home and all things familiar. I truly commend each and every one of you, far and wide, who have made leaps of faith into new spaces, be it city to city, country to country, university to university, or village to town. This transition forced me to learn who I was, who I am, and what I'm truly made of. In the midst of it all, I realized that I define who I am. Yes, I might be too Black. Yes, I might be too African. And yes, I might be too American to fit into anyone's boxes. When it comes to identity, you define who you are. Oprah once said, "Understand that the right to choose your own path is a sacred privilege." Identity is neither monolithic nor static. It changes daily at any age and stage in life. The sooner that we realize that we are cultivations of our own conscious decisions, the sooner we unlock our true power. Regardless of circumstance, and against all odds, we are our ancestors' greatest dreams. Whether your family was brought here as cargo 400 years ago, or you came directly from the continent, you are more than your elders could have ever imagined. And you owe it to yourself to be everything and more than you could ever dream. Thank you.